On the fantastic new album.
Thank you.
So I was wondering if you could start off by telling us a little bit about the concepts behind this album.
Well, in terms of lyrics and stuff, I can't really speak to because it's mainly Wheelhouse. But the way the record starts is that Matt Mitchell starts putting soundscapes and slightly formed song ideas into a folder, but it's all just music. And this album started in like hotel rooms 5 years ago while we were touring the last record. So it's been since then that it's been going. And I think the instruments that he fell in love with for this record kind of created a very strong sonic landscape that ultimately directed what Maynard's ideas and stories and characters were going to be. So I think he really got into using a Fairlight too, and also synclavier and a lot of really niche digital and analog synthesizers from the 80s. So I think really ultimately it stems from that feeling that Maynard got from hearing the music as it was.
Yeah, that 5 years that it took. Tell us a little bit about the writing process for you. How do you get involved with the writing process and the recording process of the album?
Well, I mean, this time, Matt starts the folder. It started 5 years ago, but it kind of sat around for a little while. As you know, everybody in this band is pretty busy, so we tend to work in a very strict windows that we have, particularly with Maynard having like 150 jobs, businesses, and that we have to, work to really strict deadlines. So when Maynard finally has a moment to listen to the songs that Matt has put together and start working on them, I'll be listening to them too, but I won't add anything to it. So after Maynard has put the initial idea down, that might be a rhythm or a melody or a fully formed lyrics with melody. So at the moment that happens, then I'm all over it. Particularly for this record, I was around for a lot more of the writing process that I want with Carina Round. I think, the way it happens is, like I say, visual characters who were either somewhat ignited by the experience. I can react emotionally or intuitively to what I'm hearing. So if having done, it goes back to that, and he reacts consciously or whatever to that, and it kind of pushes around. It becomes this alchemy. So,
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit earlier as well about some of the different instruments that were brought in on this album as well. Tell us a little bit about some of those instruments and what kind of sounds they bring in for this album as well.
well, the two of note would be the synclavier and the Fairlight too. Fairlight 2 came out around 82 or 83, and it was heavily used on albums like Sounds of Love by Kate Bush and first few Peter Gabriel records, solo records, and Art of Noise used it heavily. CBS used it quite a lot. So, it's a sampler, and it's just this huge, rare piece of gear now that honestly just with the screen and the keyboard and all the gear, it would still finesse you. And Matt loved the sound of it so much, and synclavier too is huge and completely rare and really difficult to find and get a hold of. So he found and bought one each of these things. He actually bought two of each. But I think he really enjoyed the he's a very technically minded, and he has all of that at his fingertips, and he can, pick up any piece of software and he can technical skill and make it work for him. So I think he really enjoyed the constraints that come with something like the Fairlight. It's a huge piece of gear, but ultimately it's difficult to learn how to use, and you can only really do one or two things with it, and the longest you can sample with it is a second or something like that. But because of what it is, the sound is very unique, and I think he just, within those constraints, it allowed him to really disappear into the creative process and be more intuitive, because I think when there are limitless things to do, you can just get a little choked creatively.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. And from your point of view, do you find do you enjoy the challenge of being able to work on an album that is so experimental and so different to what we can expect from other people?
Yeah, I think that the three of us really, and anyone else who's asked to work with us, they're chosen because of the thing that they do. So the challenge ultimately comes from the individual, because, like I say, the group of people are all chosen basically because there's a trust in what they do. So everyone just does their own thing, and it's trusted that, for instance, I'm not just going to sing all over the song because there's the song. I'm going to throw a bunch of things at it and experiment and maybe use the kitchen sink, and then it's going to be me that edits it and takes it out. And, I can work for 6 or 7 hours on a song, put every idea down, and then ultimately when I give it to Matt, it just has one line on it that I think was important to the song. Or, vice versa, I might give him 100 things and very strongly state that he has to use everything.
Yeah.
But, I think ultimately it seems experimental because each one of us are just trying to do stuff better than we've done before.
Yeah.
And continuing to try to carve our creative path and make it wider and deeper. And I think because of that, because everyone involved has that freedom, it becomes a lot less precious, a lot more free, less stifling, and it also creates an energy that keeps moving. And I don't know, it's a very freeing experience working with these people.
Yeah. You've also got a very special live stream coming up as well in a very special location. Tell us a little bit about the location where this is going to be filmed and how this location was chosen.
Well, our facility is in the middle of the central Arizona desert. Basically, it kind of looks like a small, futuristic concrete city that's just been almost sprouted up in the desert. It was designed by an architect called Paolo Soleri, who studied on the Francoid Light, and I think his ultimate dream was to, take the ancient, which is the land, and then, put it together, marry it together with the futuristic, which is, the urban environment, and put them together in a way that both could be fully utilized and, not have to destroy the other. It was kind of an experimental city, really, but it just feels like when you're there, it kind of feels very pure. You either woke up on a different planet or you're on the edge of the world. And I think in terms of live streams, you can either choose to do it in a theater or venue or, at a church or any kind of experience. Or you can do it somewhere that will add another dimension to music as it is. And I think Arcasanti really does have that. mystery and history to bring something to the album that, you know, couldn't be experienced in any other way.
Yeah. How much of a challenge is it for you to actually do a live stream from there? Like, does that bring challenges to the band because it is such a different place to be able to actually go to?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a walk in the park, but, you know, Arizona itself, especially that area, as Maynard always talks about, it's a hostile environment. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's either freezing cold, or it's really hot, or there's black widows everywhere, scorpions, or, you know, there's plants that you got to be careful of. And, you know, in terms of the actual terrain, it's difficult. But then, on top of that, you're trying to orchestrate a live show that's got a whole set, which is, you know, including, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a lot going on in the show. And trying to make that happen, and during the pandemic with the crew and band, and, you know, ultimately just made the record. So you're, it's not like you've been touring it for a year and you know it subconsciously. It's like, it was a challenging situation, but, you know, like I said, everyone was on top of their shit, took care of it, and it turned out really good, really great, in fact.
Yeah.
I think it's really special, and I can say that because I really had nothing to do with building the set. So
Yeah.
I'm not tooting my own horn, I'm tooting that.
Well, I know it's very, very late there for you, and we're so honoured that you were able to come on our show today. So I guess to finish up, is there anything you would like to say to our listeners out there before they get a chance to take a listen to this brand new album?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, the way any artist would want anyone to listen to their records, like, open up and experience joy. That's ultimately what I would want for people.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for
tune out of the craziness for an hour while you let it.
Definitely. Definitely, and it has been a very, very crazy year. Again, thank you so much for chatting to us today. Sorry about the mix-up earlier, but thank you so much for still taking time to chat to us.
Of course, thank you.
Awesome. Stay safe, and hopefully we do get to see you guys in Australia sometime in the future.
Yeah, I'd love that. Thanks. You too.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.